morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Friday, September 19th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Friday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame here. You'll notice inside day at the moment, narrow range, just 50% of average range heading into the RTH Open. That's 26 points of range right now. Very narrow here, registering on the ADR indicator. And you can see the previous session here, we were looking for higher range than what we saw. We were looking for 80 plus points of range yesterday, but the initial impulse move down and back up created a key range, and once that key range was created early on, we knew we could be stuck within the boundaries of that key range throughout the rest of the day. And since we did, it leads us into an inside day development here today, as further range-bound price action could be seen. So it could be a rather dull finish to the week here as we head into next week. Next week could bring the volatility, since this week's Fed week was a little bit more muted. That could bring quite a bit more volatility next week. Is that volatility going to be down back within the range ahead of what could be the next buy the dip opportunity? So again, keeping an eye on yesterday's intraday key range. We could be looking at back and forth price action here today. Trading range with an upward bias still in play. But any test at the previous session's low could be an opportunity to fade it back up. Any test above the previous highs could be a fade back down. Still an upward bias. Range bound, fade the edges, avoid the chop in the middle of the ranges. Looking at the NQ, similar price action here. Previous session with an intraday key range here. Inside day development here today as well. And the previous session's intraday ranges will be very important for early fade opportunities. Still a very bullish bias. So even if we did pull back a little deeper here, that could still be a short-term buying opportunity back up as we trade back and forth with an upward bias here. Again, heading into next week, we could begin to see a little bit of topping pattern that brings us back within the range after this tremendous squeeze here. Do we see a little bit of a back off followed by maybe a buy the dip opportunity ahead? We also have the final couple of weeks of the quarter coming into play, and then we turn the page to Q4, which could be a big quarter here up ahead. All right, looking at crude oil, this one's down 0.2% right now. Again, back down within the developing range. We have this larger rounded bottom that's developed here, still within that range. We have clearly a bearish bias that has been in play for a while here. Any push to the upside has been rejected. Even this short-term opportunity, which looked promising for 66s, failed right away here. So again, that just shows how this market has struggled to go up. It has maintained acceptance below 65 for the most part. And at some point here again, perhaps we go down to fill that 58.20 at some point, which could then provide the next bounce opportunity. So right now, still stuck in the range until proven otherwise for crude oil. Looking at gold, this one's marginally higher right now for the day. It's been within a very, very bullish wave here after breaking free from the 3,500 range, and any pullback could still be a buying opportunity in the short term. Overall, this market has had enough expansion that any pullback, even a meaningful pullback as deep as 3,500, could still be a buying opportunity for a continuation toward 4,000 down the way. As of right now, perhaps we get stuck in a little bit of a range here, which has already been in development, as this thing builds a little energy ahead of the next push to the upside. So again, could be building a little bit of a range here at these highs. Any pullback could still be a buying opportunity until proven otherwise. Looking at the YM, this one here currently inside day. Again, nice good key range yesterday. It stayed within the key range boundaries the rest of the day, and today still stuck within those boundaries as well. Still a bullish bias overall. Inside day with a bullish bias here. This thing continues to trend higher above the 8-period average. Again, above that bullish Pima trigger zone. Even if we saw a bit of a pullback here, that could still be a buying opportunity on the near term. But again, today could be mostly range bound, still an upward bias as we head into next week, which could provide a bit more volatility. Does that volatility coincide with a little bit of weakness heading into Q3, we will see. Again, hard to fade into this strength until proven otherwise. Looking at Bitcoin, down 1% right now, still modestly trending up, but still also hugging the previous month's midpoint. This is more than a week plus sitting at that midpoint with no real directional conviction away from it. Again, strong higher high rejection, that looks the part. Hard rejection off the 125 level, and pulling back here, but not quite pulling back as deep as the 100K level. That level, big time level here moving forward. If we were to pull back deeper into this move here, again into 100K, 95K, that could be a good long-term entry. Do we get a little bit more of a pullback than that down the road? So again, while we've had some short-term uptrending price action here, how do we respond here early into next week? How do we respond heading into early Q4? This has been a relatively narrow range here for the quarter. You can see right there, that's 105,440, and this is 125. That is literally a 20,000 point Q3 right now, and we've seen 20,000 point moves very, very quickly. Over here in Q2, this thing went from 75 to 110, so very quickly. And over here, staying less than 20,000 points right now. So very, very compressed this quarter. Do we get an outside quarter up coming into Q4? That would be tremendous if we can get that type of move heading into the end of the year. Looking at ETH, this one has a ton of compression up here at these highs, a bit more than maybe you'd like at times at these highs. It's very, very dense up here at these highs. Can that lead to the next rally, or does that, heaviness lead to a bit of a correction? It's hard to tell at the moment, especially now that we are at all-time highs for the most part. 48.80 is just 22 points off the all-time high. Again, there's enough energy here to really push through that high, but we haven't really seen the ability to do so here lately. How much of a pullback do we get up ahead? As I mentioned, from a longer term perspective, if we were to pull back toward VWAP in the 200-day, does that provide the next major opportunity in this market? How much of a pullback do we get up ahead? How do we begin Q4? So again, a lot of buildup of energy. This could easily see another big pop to the upside, but to get that next meaningful rotation, do we need a pullback first? So keeping an eye on ETH as we head into Q4. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.